Well, I told you I'd be back a day later, and here I am. Shirt means comics. I don't know why I wear this hockey shirt during my comics reviews, but that's just happened to be the first time I did that video. I wasn't thinking, and I was just wearing this hoodie at the time, and now it's what I wear every time. So funny how things work out sometimes. Anywho, this is my comics review for what would have been the month of September. Now, around this time, or I guess a little bit before September, I was having problems at my local comic shop that I go to all the time, finding back issues of older series I collected as a kid. I'd kind of mined them for as much as I could, and there were still some issues, depending on the series, just a few, some a lot more than a few, that I still needed to complete my collection. So I started going on eBay to look for the lowest priced options, even if they weren't in the best of shape. I don't care. It's just for me to read and have. It's not because I'm trying to resell them eventually or whatever, right? So so I've been picking away at some series on eBay. So starting this review, you're going to start seeing my newer comics that I get every month as they come out, and then also some older back issues mixed in, and I'm going to keep them per franchise. So first up, the current issue, or current series, issue 132 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Last time we left off, Orokusaki, the Shredder, his spirit had taken the turtles into the forest to show them the 9 cuts or whatever, those moves, those mystical moves. So they start doing that. But first, before he can show them that, each turtle has to construct their own kind of personalized talisman, almost like a Jedi making his own lightsaber, in order to connect with the spirit world and open them up to its energies or whatever. So once they do that, Orokusaki's like, here we go. So you see him sit down with each turtle and talk about his strength, his weakness, and the move that he's teaching to this turtle based on his kind of preferences or tendencies, sort of thing. And then at the end of it, they're all sitting around the campfire. They've completed what they had to do, and also Leo deals with his dark self and his doubts along the way, the dark Leo that I was talking about from last issue. And at the end of it all, they're sitting around the campfire with Orokusaki, and his last gift to them, kind of thing, is like Splinter's spirit forms out of the bonfire, and they get to say one last kind of farewell to their master. And then after that, they return to the dilapidated farm that they've been fixing up, apparently. I don't remember that. That's from the classic 91 or 90 movie, right? When they were fixing up the farmhouse after they got the shit kicked out of them. And then the last thing we see is Orokusaki opening up a portal, and them all going through to what looks like this big citadel sort of thing. And they're going to say, he's saying, we're going to start defusing this Rat King bomb that's coming up, sort of thing. So that's how that one leaves off. Now, the next one is a back issue of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon that was the very first one. It was black and white. It was a little darker. And this is issue number 7 of that original series. In this one, April takes the turtles to a museum, and they come upon the dinosaur exhibit. So they're looking at the dinosaur bones, and they're, oh, imagine, like, what a amazing thing, like dinosaurs walking the earth, these giant lizards, right? And so all of a sudden, Savante Romero, who is like this spirit demon sort of thing, the fossils rearrange themselves into his visage, and he's like, turtles, blah blah blah. He runs his mouth and he says, come meet me in the ring of fire if you dare. So they go back to the lair, and they're like, what the hell was he talking about? Ring of fire, blah blah blah. All of a sudden, Renette, I don't know how you say her name, the time traveling chick with the big honkers and that Mikey, I think, is a fan of, appears and is like, and they explain what happened with Savante Romero. So she whisks them back to the prehistoric era, and there they find Savante Romero on the back of a T-Rex, and he's attacking them. So they're like, okay, it's go time with dinosaurs. So then it's just them fighting him off, sort of thing. And in the end, Savante is going for Renette's scepter that she uses for time travel, and he goes for it, and they think all is lost, but it ends up backfiring on him. They save the scepter, and they have a bonfire of a giant fish that was killed in all of the action before they are going to head back to their own time and place. So kind of a fun issue, because dinosaurs make everything more fun, right? Next we have Transformers, two of the more current issues, and the first one up is the fourth and final issue of the Last Bot Standing little side adventure. And in this one we see Rodimus at the very start kind of explaining by a recorded message how he came to this planet that Shib lives on, this desert planet, and that it is so rich in energon it's crazy, and he's been sent there to kind of protect it. Back to current times, it's not Weirdwolf that was the Decepticon that was giving Rodimus such a hard time. It was Steeljaw. It was Steeljaw, but he looks like a wolf. So I think that's where I was getting confused. So Steeljaw, as we left off, Steeljaw and his Decepticons were confronting Rodimus, and he was like, okay, I'm all hopped up on energon, you know? So a battle ensues, and in the process, there's still a couple vials of energon left, and the Decepticons end up fighting over them, and they get all distracted. So Rodimus and Shib in the meantime go, let's get your people all out of the cages that the Decepticons got them herded up into, and get them to safety before I take these down. So then it's from then on, they release all the humans, or whatever they are, human-like creatures, and then after that it's basically Shib kind of running from the Decepticons while Rodimus engages them and tries to save him, and then it's just this big kind of slugfest between Rodimus and the Decepticons, and in the end he gets the better of the Decepticons and saves Shib and all of the people on this planet. And Shib's like, so is this goodbye? Are you leaving? And Rodimus is like, not just yet. So he sticks around to make some improvements to the planet before he blasts off into space forever, sort of thing. So that's kind of how it ends. Interesting story. I don't know who dreamt this one up, but it's kind of a very different take from anything we've kind of seen before from the Transformers franchise. Next up, there probably would have been one back in my August review, which was my last one before these most recent two that I did, which would have been, you know, half a year ago. There was a Transformers sub-series called Shattered Glass, and it was the one where basically like all the characters are different colors than their original versions, and the Autobots are actually the bad guys and the Decepticons are the good guys, so everything was kind of flipped upside down. This is the first issue from Transformers Shattered Glass 2. So a new series kind of continuing that one on, I guess. And in it, we have Ultra Magnus, who is some sort of, he's a powerful Autobot, but he's also very adept in the political realm and procedure and politicking and all that. So he's a very knowledgeable bot as well. So he's being recruited by Optimus Prime, or Orion Pax, I think, as he's called in this one, and to be kind of elevate to this new position to kind of lead, advise Orion Pax and help lead the charge for the Autobots as they rule over Cybertron. And Ultra Magnus is allowed to bring his team of Wrecker Bots along that are kind of his enforcers. But at the same time, he wants to do the right thing, and he's also friends with the Decepticon politician, oh god, who is it? Shockwave. And so Shockwave's like, you betrayer, you're taking this position with Orion Pax, you're throwing in with the tyrannical Autobots. So then it's just Ultra Magnus being pulled back and forth between these two sides before he starts to lose it. And you can see there's something, he's got like a hologram face, so he looks like the regular Ultra Magnus face, but when his hologram falters, he's like almost this skull-like kind of demonic kind of face. So I think he's got some actual demons. So the pressure of this situation eventually becomes too much for him, and he starts getting violent and kind of taking down people on both sides. And eventually, as the issue ends, Orion Pax tries to control Ultra Magnus and say, I gave you everything. I gave you this team of robots to do your bidding and elevated you to this high position in my whatever. And Ultra Magnus is like, no, I gave you everything by advising you on how to get to this position. And those are my bots. And you can go eat a fist. And then it ends up in this fight where it looks like Ultra Magnus, in the end, has definitely gotten the better of Optimus Prime. And it's very weird, even when he's discolored and kind of an asshole, to see anybody get the better of Optimus Prime. Last up, as is the usual, is G.I. Joe. One new issue, 3 back issues. Let's start with the new one, and it is number 297, which means there's only 3 left in this series before it's called quits for good, which I'm still not sure is actually what's going to happen. But anyways, in this issue, we open up with, remember, Genghis Khan, the clone of him or whatever, had broken loose from his stasis tube or whatever after the fighting started in Dr. Mindbender's lab. And he's like, yeah, it's go time, right? So the Joes start trying to engage him, but he ends up being this formidable warrior, and they're kind of pushed back and they have to retreat. So the Joe team escapes from the facility using like the sewage tunnels underneath, and they eventually exfil out to the jungle where in the meantime, as you knew from the last issue, Rock and Roll and Gung Ho and Roadblock had been making their way towards the facility to support the Joes. So they all meet up and they're fine. But in the meantime, the fighting has gone on, continued to go on inside the facility, and both Snake Eyes and Dawn have gotten stuck in there. And they, at the end of the issue, they come face to face with Genghis Khan and have to confront him 2-on-1 sort of thing. And he's like, bring it. I'm Genghis fucking Khan, right? But he's Snake Eyes, so take that, right? And Genghis Khan during this is like, he's witnessing the ineptitude of the Cobra troops and the Cobra command, the Cobra command structure and Dr. Mindbender and stuff. He's like, you idiots, I'm taking this thing over. So he basically takes control of the Cobra forces as soon as he gets involved in the fighting, and is obviously the biggest threat facing the Joes in this skirmish at this point. Okay, so as for the back issues, we've got issue 131 of the OG Marvel G.I. Joe series. And as this one picks up, Cobra Commander is mounting a raid on the G.I. Joe pit in the desert of where it is, Fort Wadsworth or whatever it is, and causing all sorts of trouble for the Joes, getting into the pit. I think if they're not taking casualties, they're taking a lot of injuries. In the meantime, back on Cobra Island, with Cobra Commander and all the troops gone, Firefly has staged kind of a coup and has brainwashed a bunch of red ninjas as well as Snake Eyes himself to do his bidding and take over the island, sort of thing. So he's taken it all for himself. So at the end of the issue, Cobra Commander breaks off the attack from the pit, saying, I got what we needed, I got what we need. He's got some sort of videotape, and he's headed back towards Cobra Island, only to get there and find out, what the hell, Firefly's taken over? And he's like, fool, with how much money we're gonna make off this, I can't remember what is it. It's studying the tactics of G.I. Joe, or I don't know, or some sort of radar thing, but he's got something on tape that he thinks is going to make Cobra millions and billions of dollars, right? So he's like, yeah, you fool, Firefly, you can have Cobra Island. I'm going to go sell this for fucking multi-billions, and yeah, I'll build my own island, sort of thing, right? So that was that one. So 132, 133. Next we pick up at 134. So there's 2 issues that came between that one and this one, but as this one picks up, things are still going on Cobra Island. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow have raided the Cobra structure there and are engaging Firefly, and trying to bring him in. And in the meantime, also all of the, like, Snake Eyes was able to break the mind control they had on him on his own, and eventually all of the red ninjas, they're mind control all wears off as well, or gets interrupted or whatever, and they all come to, and they're like, oh, Firefly, you're gonna pay, right? So Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes in the end don't even really have to worry about Firefly getting his comeuppance, as all of his former allies are actually now his foes, sort of thing. So a really shortish, it wasn't short in terms of pages, but it was just a lot of action as this kind of fight broke out at the Cobra Island command facility. So next up, we skip ahead by 6 or so issues, no, 8 or so issues, to number 142. And this one features Snake Eyes and Megatron. So this is where the Transformers get involved. And I don't remember the one that came before it, but is this one, because I probably read it years ago, or I don't have it, but I think I do. As it picks up, Megatron has kidnapped a Cobra scientist, and I can't remember her name, but it's a woman. And Megatron's really interested in what's in her brain. She's got some sort of, I don't know if it's a weapon or an energy or source idea or something like that, but he wants this doctor, and he wants her badly. So Scarlet, pretending to be allies with Cobra, eventually turns and engages Megatron, as well as a bunch of Autobots that arrive on the scene. And they all, basically the issue is just these Autobots and Scarlet and some of the Joes taking on Megatron and trying to get this doctor back out of his clutches. And they make a last-ditch effort at the end of it, and even have her in their clutches for a bit before Megatron gets her back, I think. And they make a last-ditch effort as Megatron's boarding what looks like the Ark, actually, and taking off into space. But they're unable to save her, and so she is with Megatron in this ship as the issue ends. And but Megatron, before he was saying, I only need your brain, I don't need the rest of you, and she's like, what the like, I'm worth more to you in one piece, right? Trying to save her own skin. But as they're blasting off into space, as the issue ends, he's like, maybe you do have more use for me in one piece. So he's obviously got something up his sleeve for the fate of this poor woman. But I mean, she did throw in her with Cobra, so yeah, you reap what you sow, right? Till next time.